Hello, everyone. Sarah from sarahpacaro.com. Today, we're going to be talking about the fun topic of foreplay, and not that kind, not the bedroom foreplay, but the number four, foreplay, and the ways that we play, the roles that we play in our life, and how we get to be to this part in our life, and the good and the bad of all of it, if that's what we want to label it, because it all just is what we label it. And we label it based upon our beliefs about it. But really, it's all connected to connection. It's all connected to our deepest core needs and desires. And that's to be loved, that's to feel like we matter, that we belong, and to experience connection to ourselves and connection to others. So these four roles, these four ways that we play out these roles in our lives, it, they make everything. They're the reason why we justify particular things. And we're going to get into the four roles and understand that you may be one of them, you may be two of them, you may be all of them, and you may be them at different times in your lives, depending on what is going on during that time in your life. But they're all established and developed mostly and primarily when we are really soaking in the most and absorbing the most and understanding, making meaning of the most of how this world works, the way that it works, and what we need to do to be a part of it working for us, because we are the main role, we're the main character in our own lives, and we have experiences, we have relationships with other characters, aka other people, and through this we're trying to figure out where we fit in, where we belong, and the best way to connect. So, this foreplay that we're going to get into are the different ways that we connect. And I'm going to share with you real life experiences from clients that I've had, people that I've worked with privately, and the ways that they've seen this completely show up, be present, and change in their lives through the work that we've done together. So, the first one, believe it or not, is being sick. And being sick plays a very important role in our lives. If we grow up in a family, and you know that I talk a lot about emotional unavailability, emotional abuse, emotional neglect, and a lot of times that's the absence of connection, the disconnection with connection. So we grow up experiencing disconnection to connection. So we often grow up feeling very confused and what do I need to do? A lot of these are taking on a what do I need to do kind of role. So if you're into energetics, there's a very masculine, what do I need to do in order to energy behind this. So a doing to please. So we do to please, the disease to please, right? We're living to please, we're living to fit in. And what do I need to do? And we find whatever is the easiest way to please, which is the easiest way to receive, because our mind is like, I don't want you to work hard, just do this and then you get that. And it's like, okay. And then this becomes a part of this internal and unconscious processing in the way that our mind works and plays. So being sick plays out in so many ways. When you're a child and you grow up and you're constantly sick, you're getting constant attention, even if the parents are frustrated. So you are receiving attention, you're receiving connection, you're receiving admiration. Maybe it's that you have an internal unconscious beliefs because these are created and developed very young. You pick up on the energy in the field in which you're going through. I've actually had conversations through clients with this about this as they're looking at their past lineage. They're looking at their parents' parents and what their parents were going through when they conceived them, when they came into this world. What is the world that they came into? Did they come into a world where there were already children present and those children were already kind of dominating the role? They were already in one of the other roles, and we're going to talk about the four roles or the four ways that we all play. And so, say for example, you were the youngest of all of your siblings and you were an accident, and you come in to your family and you're playing one of these roles and the others are taken. One of them is already the caregiver, one of them is already kind of the calmer, the smoother over, and one of them is the rebel, or one of them is already brilliant, talented, successful, and they're already receiving all the attention. for all of the things that they do that are just so great. There's not a role for you in those places. So you take on the role of being sick. You take on the role of receiving attention because you're always coughing or you're always sick or something's always off with you. You always have a headache, whatever it is. You take on this role because you don't believe that there's a space for you in the other roles. And because of that, you're not receiving the same admiration, connection, or attention that your older siblings are. But there's a space for you in constantly being sick. There's a space for you in constantly needing the attention from one parent or both to go to doctor's appointments, to not feel good, to have your tummy hurt so that your mom or your dad can pay special attention to you, have special time with you, tuck you in, and take a little bit longer at night to tuck you in because you're coughing and they're wiping your head and they're making sure that you're okay and you're receiving this love, this attention, the connection, maybe through the receiving of medication and the receiving of needing the extra comfort being tucked in or special foods or special diet or all the other kids can have this but that I'm going to prepare this in a special way just for you because of this issue. And this happens internally and it happens subconsciously, and I know a lot of people at this point might be thinking this is crazy, but this is so true of a lot of the clients that I've worked with. They realize that a lot of their adult diseases stemmed from what was happening in the ways that they were sick when they were a child. It was the only role that they could play internally and unconsciously. Their subconscious mind picked up on that and ran with it. And now there are adults today who are saying, I don't desire or need to believe that I need to be sick anymore to receive the attention that I didn't receive when I was a child. There is powerful, rapid transformation available to you through your unconscious mind, through connecting with the root core and cause of this and identifying these roles that you were put in a position to play when you were younger, and one of them is being sick. If you didn't feel loved by your parents, if you didn't feel that there was any other way to receive attention from them unless you were sick, that's when they took time off of work. That's when they made special time to just be with you, to love you, to hug you, to hold you, to comfort you, to connect with you, to wrap you up and cuddle you on the blanket and tuck you into bed at night and give you extra kisses, extra love, extra attention. It all comes down to the root core to need to be loved and doing anything to get the love that you need, want, deserve, desire. And the first person or persons that we want and need that love from is from our parents, is from our caregivers. And so these things are developed at a very, very young age, these 4 roles that we play. So if you weren't sure if your parents loved you, but then suddenly you got sick, your unconscious mind went, oh, hey, you just got what you wanted. You had your needs met. They gave you extra care, extra love, extra attention, and they were extra kind, extra compassionate. They weren't yelling as much because you had a headache and you were sick and shh, let's keep it down. Let's keep it quiet. They're not feeling good. And even though you may not have been asleep, you could hear that. You could pick up on that energetically. They were more calm, they were more soothing, and you desired to experience a calm, soothing environment. And your unconscious mind told you, hey, be sick. Continue to be sick because when you are sick, things are better. You get more of what you desire. You get more love, connection. You get more of a calm environment. So your unconscious mind went, oh, okay, I will play the role of being sick in my life so that I can receive more of that. And then that's the role that it takes on playing. So your unconscious mind might have thought, you know what? I don't think my mom or my dad or my parents love me, but when I play this role of being sick, I get more of them. I get more time with them. I get more love from them. I get more attention from them. And it continues to play that role throughout your life and into adulthood. And this is where adults find themselves with constant chronic sickness or chronic disease, or they develop hypochondria. They're afraid of germs and they're like, I'm afraid of getting sick. Well, they're the ones that are always manifesting sickness and always seeming to be constantly sick. You talk to them and they're like, you're like, you've been sick for like a month now. What is going on? Oh, I don't know. It's it's fine, and it's such an unconscious thing at that point. especially when you played that role for decades or for what feels like a lifetime. The next role that people play, and this is one that I played very much so. I actually took on two more prominent than the other two, but this is being brilliant, this is being talented, this is being successful, this is being the smart one, this is the one who's going to get a 4.0 in in everything they do. They're going to get straight A's in everything they do. They're going to be needed, they're going to be admired, they're going to be the top, and they're maybe the top person in their grade, in their class, and in their grade, the valedictorian, the one who's getting more than a 4.0, the one who's getting scholarships for academics, for athletics. This is not just in academics, but they're the ones that are brilliant, that are talented, that are successful, that they are admired through their outcomes, through their accomplishments, through their achievements, so that other people will look at them and go, wow. And they receive the admiration, they receive the love through the admiration, through the things that they do. So people can say, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. If it's in a sports team, they make themselves indispensable. They're the ones who are showing up to practice early and staying late and practicing overtime. And they're the ones giving it their all. They're the ones playing when they're injured and not taking the time off that they need. They're the ones who are applying this to academics and studying, and not going out with friends, and not really loving or living or enjoying life because they've got to get a straight A. They've got to get enough sleep. They're the bookworm. That was me. And that was a 4.0s and getting the grades and all of the things so that their parents could say, I'm so proud of you. They may not have felt that their parents loved them. I don't think that they love me, but I am going to make sure that they're very proud of me. I'm going to make sure I receive the love through my accomplishments, my successes, my talents, my achievements. So we develop this achievement oriented kind of love, and it can lead to success, but it's all because of the belief that you don't love me unless I prove my lovability, and you're proud of me, because when you say I'm proud of you, look at what you've done, then we feel this connection to love. And so the second role that people play is to be the smart one, to be the brainiac, to be the athletic one, to be the all-star on the team, and to be the one that is at the top of the game, either academically or athletically, oftentimes, right? You may have failed every class except gym because you were so great at sports, or you may have failed all things physical and athletic, but when it came to academic, top of the class, you were there because that was the role that you played. The next role that people play, especially if they don't feel like they fall into either one of those categories, is the caretaker. They're the ones that are going to smooth and soothe everything out. They're going to care for everyone else. They may not be talented athletically, they may not be brilliant, and they may not be sick, but their mind says, you know what, you can go take care of everyone. That can be your role. You can be the giver. You can give them what they need. You can be there when they ask for something. You can be in the air before they say how high, before they say jump, and your mind is like, how high? It's okay, I'm already in the air. Just tell me if you need me to go higher. I will give it to you. I will give you everything. I will give you everything I can, because that's the role that I'll play. I may not have everything, but I'll give you everything. And so this role of caretaker, this role that life isn't fair, but when I give what I wish to receive, then I feel like maybe I'll receive it. And I'm giving love, and I'm giving from a place of love because I don't feel that you love me. And so these people oftentimes feel out of balance because they're not receiving what they're giving, and they're certainly not receiving at the level or the extent at which they're giving, but they take on the role of caretaker or giver. And this happens a lot in narcissistic relationships. There's an overgiver, an overcarer, the one who's so easy to just keep on giving when there's nothing left of them to give, but they'll continue giving because of an internal and unconscious belief that says you're not lovable, that you're not worthy or deserving of reciprocal or balanced love. And so oftentimes we'll unconsciously block or reject good love, healthy love, love that looks like strong boundaries, because we don't know boundaries, because we've lived a life of continuously crossing our own. So that's the next role, is caretaker. The one, and I work with a lot of people who are in caretaking positions. I work with a lot of nurses, Interestingly enough, the people who've come into the caretaking role, they're the ones that are always giving, they're giving everything they've got. And this stems from a core belief that you're not lovable, but you're giving the love away that you desire to receive, but you don't believe you're worthy and deserving of receiving it. So there's an imbalance here. And that is one of the roles that so many people play, especially people who find themselves in emotionally abusive, unavailable relationships where love is not available, but you're going to give love and never receive it. And the next role, and this is one that I played as well, is the rebel. To be the difficult kid, to be the kid that doesn't ever stop, to be the one that's annoying, to be the one that is labeled with ADD. And it's like, no, there's no deficit of attention. There's a desire for attention, and there's a willingness to do anything to receive attention and step outside of the perfect, brilliant caretaker being sick, more of the quote unquote, passive, compliant roles, and be the rebel, be the one who's wild, to be the one that's free because they're the ones that get the attention, to be the one who's doing crazy, wild things. And as a child, you're like, whoa, oh my gosh, give that kid some Ritalin. They've lost it. They're crazy, but they're just playing the position and the role of rebel in their lives. So they're oftentimes seen as the difficult kid, or the one who's always interrupting or causing disruption, and they're doing that to get attention, because that attention, their unconscious mind equates as love. Look, you're receiving attention, that's love, keep doing more of that, that feels really good. So internally, and they, every time they receive attention for doing something wild, doing something crazy, doing something like way outside the box or way outside the lines, rebellish, they receive love, they receive attention, and it's woo. So it becomes this little hit of dopamine, this little high that they get every time. And so they play the role of rebel, like the kid who's like, watch me, watch me, watch me do this, and then they're doing like quadruple backflips off this high thing, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna break something, don't do that. And they thrive off of that. And so there's the role of rebel, is one that is played, and it's not always extravagant, it's not always out there like that. Sometimes it's the quiet rebel, the silent rebel. I was doing things that were very, very rebellious in my youth, but not anything my parents knew of, because I was with my parents playing the role of the brilliant, the successful one, the one getting straight A's, the one who was getting the awards and all of the scholarships. But in my friend group was the rebel. So we can play different roles with different people in different groups, in different circumstances, in different situations. In my friend group, I was the one that was a rebel. I was the one that was like, you guys are going to do that, watch this. And I would go do it. And with my friends, it was probably because that position of being the brilliant one, the talented one, the smart one was already taken. And as I'm saying this, someone is coming to mind, and I can certainly see that that role was taken by my friends, but not in my family. So my family, I played that role, but in my friend group, I played the role of rebel because that one was available and that one was fun. It was exciting. So this is the foreplay game, and it is a game that we play. It's the game that we play internally, unconsciously, and a lot of them end up becoming very self-harming, very self-sabotaging behaviors later on in our adult life, because these are roles that are established early on in our lives when we're children, before we even know better. Our unconscious mind picks out and seeks out the fastest and easiest way to receive love, connection, admiration, and attention from those that we desire it from most. And when we're children, that's our parents, that's our caregivers. And often, obviously, as we grow up, we break away, we break apart from the need for that to come from them, and then it comes from our friends, and then it comes from our partners, our family, our communities, but we often continue to play these roles in other ways in our lives. So this is foreplay, and this is a lot of what I work with people when I'm working with them privately, to break free from these things that they don't quite understand why they can't break free from themselves and where they come from. So I wanted to share this with you because it's incredibly enlightening and empowering when you make these connections, and then you can make the connection to how to experience your breakthrough. So the breakthrough always most rapidly occurs internally and unconsciously. It's through the power of your unconscious mind, where your unconscious mind connects to that that development, that understanding of that, and then can connect to not needing that anymore and connecting to something much more powerful, much more positive to get you to where you desire to be instead of having to stay stuck in playing that role that was developed so early on in your life. So I'd love to talk to you more about working privately or see you in one of our incredible courses or programs that we offer. You can find out more at sarahpacaro.com. Until then, that's it on foreplay. Bye for now.